Okay, we have an electrolyzer that's been used. Last week on my channel, I was going to be showing this, but I had it put up. Now you get sediment down here in the bottom, as you can see, that you have to rinse out every, I'd say every 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. You get this mineral buildup, sediment that's at the bottom. Okay, now, as you see, there's this tube. I'm trying to get the lighting just right here. All right, now that's where your tube goes, is right here at that point. All right, and then the hydrogen is made inside. Now, unfortunately, I'll have to the diameter inside the bolts there, the nuts. All right, that's the size of the electrodes. Okay, they're stainless steel bolts down inside. All right, and then what you see covering it here on top, that is marine goop. It dries like plastic, and you want to do this outside in a well-ventilated area when you use marine goop. Okay, as you see over here, I've got this wire connected, and it's connected over here on the other side. Okay, and then it comes down here to the ends where, and this is pretty heavy gauge. I'd have to say this wire here is about, I'd say 8, like 8 gauge, maybe 10. But then this connects to your negative and positive on the battery, or better yet, it goes to a switch that will turn off when your car turns off. And that's what this goes to. All right, it can go direct to the battery, or you put in a relay switch, and then from there, so that when you start up your car, it turns on and it starts creating hydrogen. On last week's Insane Friends, this was unseen, but yet I showed you how it worked. Thanks for dropping in. Who's in the chat? This is Insane Friends. I had unfortunately forgot to put that up when I went live, and I was just showing, this is where the hydrogen is made. Okay, 2 stainless steel bolts go down inside here, which you can barely see. Okay, I'll have to take this apart. This lid got bent, and it's kind of stuck on there at the moment. I may end up having to break the jar to get the lid off of it. But this is what it looks like, and this is what you got to clean out. Okay, and for this sediment to build up in there, it takes about 2 to 3 months. Then you just drain it out. You open the lid, you pour it out. You add some more distilled water, some more baking soda, like about 1.5 teaspoons is about the right amount, and fill it back up, and you're good to go. Now, if you have if you happen to have an older car, then you don't need to do anything because you don't have a computer. You can hook it straight up. A lot of guys will have it hooked up to where the vacuum off a carburetor will pull it through. And then they'll have a little regulator on top to regulate the amount that's being pulled out at once. So they can control, because that vacuum on the carburetor just wants to suck, and if it's going to pull more out than it's producing. So that creates a problem. So you want to adjust it down, and that's a drip system, bubbler valve, that goes into the top of your lid that you can adjust. And that's what I'm familiar with. Now, that was when the first ones were made. That's where, this was like about 8 years ago, 10 years ago nowadays, when they first came out. They were using what they could just purchase from the store, and the drip line bubblers, you actually could shut them down or open them up, and it would act as a valve to slow down the vacuum coming off the carburetor so it doesn't pull more than what it's producing. Unless you're producing a large volume of hydrogen, then it doesn't really matter at that point. But remember this, that if you use too much hydrogen at one time, over a period of, I don't know, 6 months, a year, you can actually burn the valves if it's a whole bunch. So there's people producing a lot of hydrogen. And, you know, there are people that are actually operating off of 97% hydrogen and 3% gas. That's for real. But your motors need to be stainless steel in order for that to take place. So if you don't have a stainless steel motor, then you're going to cause other issues. Now, a small amount of hydrogen, like I was producing, sorry about that. I had like a bubble a second. I had 2 containers with a bubble a second of hydrogen. And that was enough to give me 24 miles a gallon city and 36 miles a gallon highway. That was on a 04 Dodge Dakota. Now, the other thing that you need for this is a map sensor regulator. And it's a little box you can buy on eBay. It's a box you can make. If you go to water, the number 4, gas.com. They have all that at your fingertips. They have units that are already made and they're more advanced. This is the original experimental design. Is this right here? This is the one that we were looking at. Okay. So this right here was one of the original experimental designs. It's where it started, right here. And this really works. That sealer, that is marine goop on top. It turns into like plastic. And there's also rubber or plastic going down between this metal lid that's insulating these electrolyzer or these stainless steel bolts, okay? It's not touching metal. It's being insulated from the metal. Know that. That's important. I've also used rubber tubing as an insulator right in the lid. With not stainless steel, with nylon washers, and then you just tighten it down, and you got your rubber tube going around your bolt if you're using bolts, and so it's all insulated. You don't want it touching the metal lid, from what I'm told and how everybody's doing it. The electrodes going down the stainless steel bolts, they've got a plastic spacer that keeps them separated so they don't vibrate by accident and touch. And then coming off of this, you've got like a water bottle. And it goes from the electrolyzer. The tube's going into the water bottle. The water bottle has an air gap at the top. Then in the lid of that water bottle, you have a second tube that's just inside the lid. And then that goes into your intake manifold. If it's a car with a computer, if it's an older vehicle, then it goes, you can use your vacuum like I was saying off the carburetor, and that's how that's set up. Now they have these newer systems nowadays. Water, number 4, gas.com. They have ready-made systems. It's all your stainless steel is in a plastic container. It mounts to the side of your firewall. It comes with a windshield washer, water reservoir, and then that feeds the little unit with the stainless steel in it. It supplies the water and the baking soda mix. And then that's set up and it goes into your car, and it's all set up and designed, and it works really well. The other thing when you do this, you want to wrap your O2 sensor. It's the second O2 sensor. So there's one on the bottom and the one at the top would be the second one. Wrap that with like stainless steel. That's stainless steel. I had taken, when I was using that, aluminum foil, heavy aluminum foil, and I'd fold it in half. I wrapped it about 3-4 times. Took a copper wire, wrapped it around that O2 sensor. That's what I did. You can also get an O2 sensor extender, and that'll do the same thing. What else? And by wrapping the O2, you trick the computer, and it helps to give you better mileage with this hydrogen setup. From what I understand, I was told you don't want to do this with the O2 sensor unless you have hydrogen, because then you're also using your map sensor regulator so that you can adjust. It's 2 little potentiometers, or like volume controls, that you can return and retard, because you got to tap into it on your car. And Water for Gas gives you all the information you need to do that. There's also another channel. There's also another website. They've been around since the 70s. And they are called eagle-research.com. And if you don't know what a hyphen is, for those that may not be sure what I'm talking about, a hyphen is just the dash that goes in the middle between letters or words. That's your hyphen. It's a dash. So it's eagle-research.com, and they have a wealth of knowledge, many books to be purchased on the subject, many different aspects of the subject. And like I said, they've been in business, been doing this since around 1970s, or at some point in the 70s, they started, from what I remember about all that. And they have a very extensive website. With lots of books on the matter. And in some cases, you might want to get 2 different books and 2 different aspects so that you can bring it together so that it all comes together and works for you, depending on what you're doing. But like I said, that's eagle-research.com, or Water 4 Gas. They use stainless steel wire. They don't use the bolts on their original units. Then they have the more advanced units like I'm talking about. They're in a plastic case container, and you've got your stainless steel plates in there, and they're all dialed in and ready to go. And it really works. So who's in the chat? I've got somebody in here. You haven't commented yet. Do you have any questions? Do you know about hydrogen already? Or are you watching me on the TV and you're unable to comment, or some device you're unable to comment on? Well, I have to assume, in good faith, that you're unable to comment. That's all good. Thanks for being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I welcome all questions. This is the Insane Friends, hashtag Insane Friends community tonight. And it's a community with guys that are into street racing and auto mechanics and all kinds of different things. Motorcycles. It's a pretty big group. And You can comment after the live stream. Come back and comment. So Victor Sane put all this together, the Insane Friends group, and Sane Auto. And there's Rev and Redline, a part of the group. And there's R Twisted Racing. And a few others. Let's see. I totally forgot. Okay, let's see. We've got Gregory Salvadori, Insane Friends, on Monday at 9 p.m. We've got Sane Auto on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, we've got Bubba's Sanctification, 9 p.m. Insane Friends. Sane Auto, Tuesdays also at 7:30 p.m. Thursday, we have Dorito and the Lucha Chord at 9:30 Thursdays. 7:30, you've got me, California time. This is all Eastern time. We have Friday, House's Hope, 8:30. Friday, we have Twisted R Racing. We have Saturday, we have Chopper's Rules, 6:30. And at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we have Fab Automotive Detailing, Insane Auto Friends. If I butchered anybody's name, it was not intentional. Okay. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Then let's not forget Sam's Garage. He's got a go-kart channel. He's building go-karts and putting together some pretty nice go-karts. I haven't seen any in a long time. And that's Sam's Garage. So, if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing from you on them. And I appreciate your time. And whoever's here, thank you for being here. Like I'm saying, if you have any questions, come back. And you want to do this with stainless steel. Don't try to do any other metals. Stainless steel is tried and true, proven. And there's one other thing I need to mention, though. From what I've read, they're saying that when you're doing this, you get cobalt-6 that ekes out of the stainless steel. So just keep that in mind. That's in the water. I used to put my finger in the water and say, look, it's just water. I didn't know that. So you don't want to do that. God forbid anything comes from it. So I was doing that off and on. So you don't want to do that. Stainless steel, baking soda, teaspoon and a half of baking soda in a canning jar. So for every quart, you figure a teaspoon and a half of water. Teaspoon and a half of baking soda, not water. Now, last Thursday night, I showed that hydrogen really works. I showed it. I was able to show that it was being produced, and how simple that was. So if you have any questions, there's also links on that channel to a video of my vehicle and how it was working. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask. I'll have some links in this description when it's over. And I look forward to hearing from you. There's one in the chat, but we have nobody else coming in and having a one-sided conversation. I'm supposed to go here. I'm supposed to do this live for an hour or longer, which I would like to do. But I think at this point I'm going to be boring people. I need to do another one where I have a better demonstration, where I have everything functioning and working as if it was going into a car and showing that process. That's what I will be doing in the future. When, I don't know. But I will have to show the system functioning, at least doing what it does. It just won't be in the car. It'll be demonstrated. And but I don't know if I'll do that live or not. Well, thanks for dropping in. Who's in the chat? If you have any questions about hydrogen? You dropped out. Didn't mean to scare you. No. Okay. And who's in the chat? Any questions? Are you part of the Insane Friends group? You don't have to be. I'm just wondering. Now you can go back and watch, the beginning where I was kind of showing the device. And this is what it looks like after a few months. You rinse it out and start over when it gets a buildup of sediment, which is minerals in the bottom. And put more water and baking soda mix in. Without the baking soda, it doesn't work. Baking soda is the key element to making this hydrogen work. And it's on demand. No questions. But I'm here to tell you it really does work. It really does. And when you have an older vehicle, you don't need to do anything but just hook it up. It's real straightforward with an older vehicle. Well, thank you for your time. Whoever's in here, thanks for being here. And remember, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just sharing the knowledge and information because it really works. And there's quite a bit of information out there for you to find. There's quite a bit here on YouTube to find. But it does work. And there's more to discuss on it. Just not in a just in a one-sided conversation. So Thanks for being here. I'm going to end the live stream. And take care. Keep up the good work. Remember, never give up because there's always a way. Come back and leave a comment after the live stream. And thanks for being here. And stay well, stay warm. Bye for now. Bye.